Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show, where we help you make the wisest and most profitable decisions. My name is Dr. Gleb Tsipursky. I'm the CEO of Disaster Avoidance Experts, the future of work consultancy that sponsors the Wise Decision Maker Show. And I'm joined today by Dave. Dave, can you please share a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Hi, everyone. I'm Dave Bottoms. I'm the SVP and GM of the marketplace at Upwork, the world's largest talent marketplace. I live and reside in the San Francisco Bay Area and work with people distributed all over the world. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about some of the exciting things we've been doing in the world of AI.
Tell me a little bit more about the Upwork journey with generative AI adoption. We have the big impact of ChatGPT. What's Upwork doing with generative AI? How has it impacted Upwork?
Yeah, well, I think like a lot of companies, it was a bit of a wake-up call when
Hmm.
ChatGPT launched kind of tail end of 2022. And in early 2023, we spent some time thinking strategically about how could this actually impact our business. So
Mhm.
as a marketplace, we cover literally 120 plus categories, types of work, and clients come to Upwork to find freelance talent that's
Mhm.
distributed throughout the world to work on projects, either hourly projects or time-based projects, where you might hire somebody to work for a month or 3 months or something, or as part of a virtual team. And on one hand, we looked at generative AI and tools like ChatGPT as incredibly powerful productivity enhancers for talent on our platform, doing tasks like coding or writing or translation or deep research. Incredibly powerful kind of assistive companion technology tools. Another dimension we recognized pretty early on how it would change the nature of software development and how
Mhm.
our engineers are actually building it, building our mobile apps or building
Mhm.
our website or thinking about different flows that we could build,
Mhm.
automate our QA testing and infrastructure. So
Mhm.
developer productivity being sort of another dimension. And
Mhm.
then finally, we started thinking about, well, how is this potentially going to disrupt the world of work or the future of
Mhm.
work? And the amount of demand that comes to Upwork looking to hire a human versus
Mhm.
using an emerging AI tool. And since, 2023, there have been probably hundreds, if not thousands, of different use cases that are served by different
Mhm.
tools that are rolling out. It's hard to almost keep track of everything. But we decided to focus on how can we use generative AI to make existing workflows and existing use cases on our
Mhm.
platform more efficient and
Mhm.
reduce the amount of friction. So we started a group called Upwork Labs that was really sort of
Mhm.
our 0 to 1 experimentation team, and it was a couple of product managers, some engineers, and
Mhm.
designers to kind of look at the workflows across Upwork, and we
Mhm.
identified the job post as the first place to start, where we could
Ah.
start using AI. So, if you think about it, in a marketplace that is trying to match client
Mhm.
demand with freelancer supply, the post is sort of the atomic unit of here's what I'm hiring for.
Mhm.
And oftentimes, the quality of the job post depends largely on the client knowing exactly what they want
Mhm.
or what type of talent they're hiring. So you can imagine in a case where, oh, I'm a marketing leader at a small business and I come and I know I want to build a website as my eventual outcome, but
Mhm.
I don't know whether I need a JavaScript developer or a PHP developer or a
Sure.
backend developer. I don't know specifically about what skills to hire for.
Mhm.
What we did was put an AI driven job post generator into
Mhm.
the job post flow, not only to make it faster and more efficient
Mhm.
to build the job description that you were looking for, but to automatically populate the types of tags that would get picked
Mhm.
up in our search algorithm, to automatically
Mhm.
write a description for what types of projects different skills
Mhm.
would apply for. and to look at kind of the depths of our
Mhm.
existing projects that we have fulfilled on Upwork and say, what is a good job post that is likely to
Mhm.
be filled? And do it very, very fast and efficiently so that a client
Mhm.
can come in, have a semblance of what they're trying to hire for, enter a couple of descriptive keywords and answer a few prompt questions, and then automatically have
Mhm.
that job post generated. So that was kind of our first foray where we
Mhm.
said, hey, we'll make it really faster and easier for clients to generate
Mhm.
jobs, and hopefully those jobs are more discoverable by
Mhm.
the search engine on the platform. I can go on and on, but I'll pause for a minute.
Sure.
That was sort of 2023.
Mhm.
I think the other thing, so I talked about the overall developer productivity and starting to look at
Mhm.
use cases on our platform. I think the other thing, and why Upwork is a pretty unique company to look at this
Mhm.
time, is we were starting to see the organic demand for AI talent. So companies
Mhm.
trying to hire people to do prompt engineering or do
Mhm.
machine learning or data science. Data science and machine learning are not things that are new, but with
Mhm.
the boom of AI projects that's happening across the industry, not every company has data scientists or ML
Sure.
engineers that they could redeploy for experimentation purposes. So we became a great source for companies looking for that type of talent. And we were
Mhm.
seeing real organic demand build on the platform
Mhm.
for the types of talent that could drive and deliver AI projects. So
Mhm.
that's when we created a partnership with OpenAI, and there's a case
Mhm.
study that you can find on the OpenAI website that talks about us as
Mhm.
both a customer. So we license the ChatGPT Enterprise for our
Mhm.
developers and other functions at the company to use uh, to drive productivity. We're a partner in that we created a branded experience for customers of OpenAI looking for experts in how to deploy
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
tools at their company. Where we
Mhm.
showcased a number of talent that are on the platform. And we're also a developer in using
Mhm.
OpenAI and building into some of our workflows
Mhm.
localized language models that could be tuned on top of the foundational LLMs like OpenAI. So it was a period of a lot of great learning and
Mhm.
really kind of uh, accelerated our investment and our
Mhm.
fortitude in embracing a strategy for AI.
Now, of course, AI is a source of anxiety as well as excitement and acceleration. And so, both internally for your developers, when they're working out with it, they can see how it's quickening the pace of development and making, therefore, additional concern about their job and displacement. And of course, it's also a sort of source of concern and displacement for the folks in your platform. I know that Upwork has talked about how there's less need for copy editors, for example, and less need for other sorts of folks on their platform. There's decreasing demands because of generative AI. So it's both causing anxiety, I'm sure, and some potentially resistance among developers and among the people who are looking for jobs on Upwork. So tell me a little bit more about what you've been doing internally to address potential sources of anxiety and resistance among your developers, and also sources of anxiety, we won't talk about so much resistance, on the part of folks who are looking for jobs in Upwork.
Yeah, let me start with the developers internally. I mean, I
Sure.
think first and foremost, it does require a mental and cultural shift to start
Hmm.
thinking about, hey, I'm going to develop code using a tool. And I recognize the benefit, and I recognize that I need to stay abreast of the different types of
Hmm.
tools. We picked Copilot to be our first software development tool, and
Hmm.
thinking about the different kinds of tasks that we could use,
Hmm.
different types of projects. And we tried to start with sort of one or two teams as sort of our proof of concept teams.
Mm-hmm.
How can we automate some of our QA testing, and how can we build something that has fewer dependencies on our traditional code base? So
Mm-hmm.
some of the new products that we were that didn't have interdependencies, that
Mm-hmm.
we were, I would say, more like 0 to 1 prototyping. So that's how we started. I think over time, in the last year and a half to 2 years, I think we're looking for, the leaders of engineering teams, engineering managers and directors,
Mm-hmm.
to really encourage the adoption of these tools. And
Mm-hmm.
how we measure developer efficiency and productivity
Mm-hmm.
is, how many check-ins am I doing with code, or how many deployments are we doing, and how fast is our time to deploy to production. And I think you can look at sort of where we were a year and a half ago and where we are today and see that it's much more widespread.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just like one or two teams that are sort of the proof of concept teams. Almost every team is using one tool or another to
Mm-hmm.
help them more efficiently code and QA test. I think the mental shift was looking at it as a productivity enhancer, not a threat, as you would say, not a threat to their job. You still have to know what you're trying to do and achieve, what customer pain
Mm-hmm.
point you're trying to solve, um, and you still have to know how it's going to work with
Mm-hmm.
the overall kind of end-to-end system architecture within the Upwork environment. So I think we've come a long way and learned a lot of things about
Mm-hmm.
the software development process. And now you have, all the buzz seems to be on vibe coding, and you don't need to be a technical engineer to sort of get to an outcome that is fairly sophisticated, low code or
Mm-hmm.
no code development. I think that's good for kind of, small projects and personal
Mm-hmm.
projects and things like that. But when you have a complex
Sure.
ecosystem and legacy systems and whatnot, you're not going to use Lovable to build a new, a new feature or something. It's great for prototyping. I think we've also recognized that, like,
Mm-hmm.
not just engineers, but designers and product managers are prototyping
Mm-hmm.
more and differently than they were able to in the past, whether it's wireframing or even building mini prototypes that can demonstrate an idea that you can't get across in a written PRD.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps it's almost easier and faster to build it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the second part of your question was really about how we've seen the response from the, like, talent on the platform. And I think we initially were positioning, the rise of these tools as great productivity enhancers for freelancers, that if they
Mm-hmm.
were able to be more efficient in using modern tools, they could do more work, they could take on more projects. But to your point, there are certain categories that are sort of naturally going to be less in demand for a
Mm-hmm.
human and more in demand for an AI, and writing and translation are two of those categories that I
Mm-hmm.
think are good examples where you could see translation kind of moving to AI tools. I think the nature of the human that you want to hire is changing. So you don't necessarily
Mm-hmm.
hire a translator to translate your website from English to Spanish to French, but you might hire a local language expert to review the output of the AI as it's translating your website into multiple languages,
Mm-hmm.
and understand, are you capturing the colloquialisms that a local or a native speaker would employ. I think in the case of writing, it may be a shift from actual writing to editing is the place where humans are still needed in the loop.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen too many examples actually of agentic workflows being able to fully replace and act on behalf of their prompters. You need a prompter, and you need kind of a quality assurance expert on the other end to kind of make sure that the output is good enough. So I think our stance today is that there's a really powerful combination
Mm-hmm.
between AI and humans and
Mm-hmm.
experts. And as long as freelancers are making themselves expert in a particular discipline or area, they get the advantage of using tools in terms of the
Mhm.
productivity gain that allows them to work more, and they're providing a real value to the agent tools by checking their
Mm,
work and making sure that the agents are able to do and deliver high quality work
mhm,
that kind of moves them up the value chain, if you will. So
mm,
instead of like, I'm going to write 10 articles that can be SEO optimized and drive traffic to your site, maybe I can write 100 articles using AI, and then I'm
mm,
editing and making sure that the content of those is going to be
mm,
robust enough and the tags are correct to get picked up
mm,
properly by search engines. So the nature of the work may be
mm,
shifting, but I don't think it's replacing.
mm.
And as I
Now,
mentioned earlier, I think the advantage that we've seen and tried to take
mhm,
advantage of is that the demand for different types of work has exploded on the AI side. So for every
mm,
category that may be getting lower demand for people like writing,
mm,
I think we're seeing more and more demand for people that have the expertise to do higher value work like machine
mm,
learning or data science or even training LLMs on very specific tasks or even mundane tasks such as data labeling
mm.
and being expert in particular areas and to be able to uh, find work that's increasing in demand.
Now, you mentioned about productivity metrics, that you've been measuring productivity metrics and effectiveness. Tell me a little bit more about what metrics you've been using to track AI besides productivity. For internally, of course, we're not talking about externally. What are the metrics that companies should be thinking about as wise and effective metrics to use for generative AI adoption?
I mean, we take a pretty standardized approach across different
Mhm,
engineering teams, and obviously the tasks are can vary depending on
mhm,
whether you're a platform or an infrastructure team or a front end feature team. But basically, looking at the rate of deployment, how fast are you able to write and deploy code, and the error rates,
mhm,
bug rates, things like that. Is it quality code? And what is the time? What is the developer effectively a productivity
mhm,
index about how much,
mhm, mhm,
how frequently are they checking in code? Um, and what is the deployment velocity? So we've gotten
mhm,
really faster at sort of instead of a cycle of probably a 2 week sprint and then deploy code all at once, doing daily deployments and then measuring at the level of the individual engineer
mhm,
how many check-ins did they do, and is that increasing with velocity over time?
mhm,
Obviously, if you're doing daily deployments, you're going to have more opportunities to check in code. And if you're using some of the AI tools, hopefully you're being more productive with
mhm,
the time that you have to write code. So more frequent check-ins and more tools should yield a much more productive overall
mhm,
engineering workforce. And then we look at traditional things like, what is our overall bug rate or
mhm,
issue with scalability, reliability, incident
mhm.
response time, those types of metrics.
Now, as we finish up, I want to ask you as a leader, as you're looking at the future of generative AI, the agentic tools, everything that's adopting, how are you aligning the generative AI development with your leadership strategy, with the strategic orientation of Upwork going forward? What is your vision?
Um, the vision for how we're using AI or how
Mhm.
where we think AI will be going in the future.
A combination for where
Okay.
AI will be going. How are you skating toward the puck will be?
Skating toward the puck. Well, that's a great analogy, if you will. I think we're thinking about constantly how are we satisfying demand
Mhm,
across categories of work. And while some demand is surging for certain categories of work, like the AI skills that we talked about. How do we
Mhm.
find and onboard the talent and the expertise to satisfy
Mhm.
that demand? That's kind of the overall market dynamics,
Mhm.
high level strategy. I think in terms of our internal deployments,
Mhm.
we're moving from engineering being kind of the first functional team that was really piloting using the tools
Mhm.
to now really seeing the embrace of some of these tools by the design team.
Mhm.
I saw a demo earlier this week
Mhm.
of Figma dev mode. They're in Figma all day, every day, but now designers are actually able to export and
Mhm.
push production grade code.
Mhm.
That's new. I think product managers embracing some of the tools,
Mhm.
which I won't say by name, but there are a number of different tools for prototyping and
Mhm.
really rapid prototyping. And increasingly other functions, whether it's
Mhm.
marketing and thinking about content writing and SEO design,
Mhm.
or even HR and building, GPTs to answer frequently asked questions,
Mhm.
and take some of our internal data that exists in Google Docs and
Mhm.
in internal intranets and make it accessible via chat interface. So there's
Mhm.
lots of different applications internally and lots of different places and ways
Mhm.
that we're embracing it. I think the really exciting thing is what's happening externally and how fast
Mhm.
the world is moving, how quickly we see the tools coming out, and how do we actually imagine a marketplace where it may not be human to
Mhm.
human, person to person, client to freelancer in the future, but what is the role of an agent in that ecosystem? Where a
Mhm.
client may have an agent acting on their behalf to try
Mhm.
and find a particular skill set.
Mhm.
A freelancer may have an agent acting on their behalf and saying, "Go find me the kinds of jobs
Mhm.
that I am well suited to apply for, and help me write the proposal, and help me win the work, and then help me
Mhm.
do the work." Right.
Mhm.
So you can imagine that our two-sided marketplace of today is
Mhm.
going to get a little bit more. Hopefully, it'll be more complex with both
Mhm.
sides that have agents that can do work on their behalf, but at the same time, more efficient, ideally,
Mhm.
where we're using UMA is the name that we've given to Upwork's Mindful AI, kind of an umbrella term for all of the places and ways that we're deploying AI solutions across the Upwork platform.
Mhm.
UMA is basically driving our matching engine. So you can think
Mhm.
about traditional search. You go in and say, "Hey, I'm looking to hire a graphic designer or an Android developer," and you're going to get kind of traditional search
Mhm.
results. UMA is not only allowing you to have a conversation about, well, I'm looking. Uma's trying to get at what is your outcome, and what is your
Mhm.
intent for being on Upwork. Like if you want to build an Android app, okay, I can
Mhm.
glean that from a couple of conversational exchanges and know the kinds of people to try and show to you. Um, we also see that it may be in the future that we're recommending, what specific tools or what specific
Mhm.
capabilities you might use. And so UMA is getting smarter and smarter about the kinds of recommendations we would make on both the
Mhm.
talent side and the tool side. So I see a world where, you could be a very small business and scale
Mhm.
your business by leveraging a lot of things that could be automated and done with
Mhm.
AI, and not necessarily having to have full-time employees or people
Mhm.
that are working for your company, but you're actually able to employ the combination of an agentic presence, an AI
Mhm.
tool, and a freelancer to actually do a lot of work without having to hire
Mhm.
full-time people to grow and scale your company. So thinking about the many small businesses that come to Upwork, and
Mhm.
most of them are trying to grow their business, and many of them need to grow their business by having different expertise that they may not ever hire for as a small or medium-sized business, but they can do it fractionally and they can do it cost effectively
Mhm.
and efficiently by finding these people with that expertise on Upwork. So I see long term. Let me take a
Mhm.
step back and it really answer your question. Long term, really over the next probably 3 to 5 years, we think it's going to be the era when you have humans plus AI to drive
Mhm.
much greater efficiencies in both markets like Upwork,
Mhm.
marketplaces, but also in terms of productivity of
Mhm.
building and delivering, particularly digital outputs and digital goods.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for sharing your expertise, Dave. That was super helpful. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
And thank you to the audience for checking out another episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show. Please make sure to subscribe wherever you checked out the show and leave a review. It helps other people discover the show and helps us improve the show. And if you have any questions, email me at gleb, Gleb, at disasteravoidanceexperts.com.